Hello, YouTube. Today is Friday, June 12th, and today we have a newly released Friday Facts number 351 talking about the beacons. I'm looking forward to reading this. If you like this sort of thing, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, ring that bell so you get notified when I post a video. If you have a question or a comment, leave it down in the comment section below. You can come catch this live. Twitch.tv/Clowntown. We do this recording live, interact with the chat, and have a good time doing it. Any of the links that I have for you today will be in the descriptions below. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, Friday Facts 351: Beacon redesign and simplified fluid mixing. All right, this is what I'm looking forward to. This one, I saw the beacon redesign. I did not see the fluid topics on the Twitter post that I saw earlier today. Fluid dynamics and all the things about fluids in Factorio have a special place in my heart because I've lost many a base to the high UPS created by fluid flow. And I got a real issue with nuclear not being able to scale up and provide power to, say, a gigabase, right? Because all of us kind of want to build, just giant bases and push that science per minute way up, and performance is a big deal. So let's get to this. All right, the beacon redesign. Yeah, the beacon redesign is one of the last entities we don't have a high-res graphic for yet. So in the rather recent FFF number 339, we talked about this in length. Albert presented the updated redesigned beacon. After your response, we realized some issues that we hadn't seen the beacon before. Good. We're taking some time to rethink it. So that's the picture of the one presented in 339. The tower design itself is very impressive, which gave us many plus points. And we didn't focus on the fact that it's taking too much visual attention. In this case, yep, you're right. Aggressive. It happens because of the aggressive red colors. I agree. The big contrasty yellow eye circle and the entity being quite tall. Correct. The tallness, I think, was what I highlighted way back when. And the electric beam animation. Random variations usually helpful to make entities look nicer in clumps, like resources. But not in this case, especially as other built entities don't have any variations. Right. The options to take from here would be to either update the original design, adjust the red tower, or start a new redesign. Let me guess. They're going to start a new redesign. So this is the old school. All right. I'm not gonna show the picture yet. I'm gonna stop right there. The beacon is a very special entity. Either it doesn't appear in the factory at all, or very little, or it's everywhere. That's right. That's a good point. Because once you start over to beacons, you're kind of pot committed at that point. Like it's a dividing line between, are we going to do this or are we not? He's right. It doesn't do really anything by itself, and it doesn't really need to show much activity either. That's right. It doesn't necessarily need to be very busy. The original design has its own problems and also saturates the screen very quickly. As they are bright, also tall, they always move, attracting attention to the constant move. I don't know. I guess I either tune those out, but I rarely notice them moving. I've noticed them empty when they don't have a speed module in it. But otherwise, I may just tune it out. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where no matter where you're looking, your nose is always in view, but your brain tunes it out just over time until you think about it. Oh, there it is. Right. It may be the same thing with as many beacons as I've seen in my factories. As for the red tower, most of the top part would have to be removed because almost complete redesign already. Right. I agree. The tall tower, not this design, but the previous one, the tall tower was one of the things I had critical of it because, look, I guess it's called occlusion and blocking the entity behind it. And we'd kind of want to do that, right? But parts of the whole would be recycled for a new version. Good. We chose a start new redesign. Yep, I bet that was gonna happen. It was good to do this though, to kind of iterate, right? Try something new, dig the hole, like all that's really good. With a design goal of being to try and take much less attention. So I want to say one of the things I talked about in 339 was I liked the silver more than the red. The tower should be squatty. And maybe the color should take on whatever color of module you put in it instead. So instead of having the red, an empty one could be silver. But then if I put efficiency in it, it turns green. If I put prod mods in it, turns reddish orange. And if I put speed modules in, which is the most common, it'll turn bluish. Of course, can't. I realize I'm stating those impossible use cases other than the blue, right? All right, the beacon redesign. Oh, this looks okay. No tower. No occlusion. Still brownish. Lots of coils. For everything, we generally respect the idea of height in the sense that higher something is, the brighter it usually looks. The less important background is usually darker. While the foreground entity is usually brighter, especially at their top parts. The red tower was put in a hole, mostly to be able to create a really tall tower and 3x3 binding box. You don't overlap the tiles above the entity so much, right? They still had a 3x3 box there to do it. Well, it could be done instead to put the whole beacon in a hole and therefore make it generally darker and less noticeable. That's not bad. I don't mind this at all. Now we could change this idea from a tower to underground electronic powerful entity and try to explain the effect being transmitted underground by cables. Good call. Okay. See, this is better for not drawing too much attention. I like the look of it going underground. I liked the look of the one in 339 where it looked like it went into the ground but with a tower sticking up out of it. That's a good. So those are good thoughts that went around that. It's a good approach of, you know, they thought about putting it higher up in the air, like with power poles and stringing this stuff together. That was one of their iterations in 339. But then they went underground. Now they're just going more underground. So do notice that a lot of the meshes in the model coming from Albert's redesign, which was really helpful to get the new redesign done in a reasonable time. Right. You needed to go, you probably needed to at least explore the first redesign to get to this one. The beacon is generally less saturated than any of the previous designs, which again makes it easier. It makes it better in typical habitat of concrete tiles, though it looks just fine on more natural terrain as well. And Sunbeam, thank you for that live subscription. 21 months in a row. Happy Friday to you. Excellent. Thank you very much. By the way, we have this live twitch.tv/clowntown. We do this live, record live every Friday night, a couple hours after it releases. So if you want to be a part of that, come join us. Links in the chat. All right. While Submerged Design works well in terms of making the beacon take very little attention away from the producer entities, there are multiple issues. Most importantly, it doesn't look like a beacon on the first sight. As a side effect, the beacon starts looking very top-down without combating our perspective, though that would probably be possible to address by changing the design significantly. All right, we got towers. Oh, look here. I was right. Hey, look at there. All right. Okay. So a tower clawed its way back in the concept to explain how the effect is transmitted. Okay. All right. Just a slim, lightweight tower, though. Look at the occlusion. Very, very little going into the other tower. So last time, it went up a full block and some into the next one. Yeah, the two black squares are actually the module slots. Oh, yeah, right here. Little squares on either side. And the beacon now dynamically visualizes the module inside. Hey, this is conceptually questionable, as we don't want to start a precedent of adding visible module slots to every entity, but the beacon has no other use than the modules, so we think it's an acceptable exception. I agree. I'm with you. Cool. The modules do take a bit more attention back again and also remove some. Oh, okay. With modules always visible, we could remove alt mode from the beacon. This means you toggle alt mode, you're only seeing the overlay change on the producer entities. Okay. So here's the... let me zoom in a little. Oh, look at there. Pretty neato. So that's what our new factories are going to look like. It used to be this, which is pretty dominating. Yeah, I like the. I kind of like it. Look at that. It's a lot less dominating. I could really improve this design, though. Just saying. Oh, look at here. Okay, see how much more breathing room do the assembly machines have in the screenshot above, as the alt mode overlay isn't really useful most time on beacons. That's right. That's right. We can afford to remove this visual clutter, and it can, of course, be re-enabled by mods. Okay, I'm down with that. The module slots are procedurally tinted. Okay. If a mod adds custom modules, it only needs specific tints at the definition of the module item without touching the beacon at all. Okay. Future prediction. Cool. Twitch chat approves. This looks neat. Okay, so this is in alt mode off, so we can't see what the assembly machines are producing, but we can see the modules still in the beacons. Oh, look at that! Look at that little icon. Oh, neato. Is that the new? I guess that's the new high-res icon too. It's worth mentioning that one of the reasons the beacons got away without high-resolution sprites for such a long time is because it's late-game entity for generally large factories, so the player mostly look at them while zoomed out. I half-heartedly disagree with that, but I get it. It is an in-game that many people don't get to. Generally. As you can see in the animation above, the tower has a subtle glow. Okay. Animation that explains the effect transmission while zoomed in. Oh, yeah, look, a little wave goes up it. Right. While almost invisible when zoomed out, trying to balance between being interesting close in and non-disruptive far out. Good. The glow effect also tended to the color redefined by module lights. In fact, it averages the color if two different modules are in the beacon, which isn't very useful for the base game, but some mods, it could add nice detail. Cool. I like it. I do like this a bunch. So chat says, Wisey in chat says they've now said alt mode for beacons will be an option in the forum thread for this. Okay. All right, I'm fine with that. I play with alt mode on all the time. I don't know anybody who turns that off necessarily. I don't have a use case for me to turn that off and look at my factory zoomed in, zoomed out. This looks good though. All right, as usual, we plan to present the beacon next week. I guess that'll be the new icon too. Okay. All right. Fluid mixing prevention, take 9001 RSED is now, so many people have taken over these, the fluid mixing. So it's now to RSED. The original concept of fluid mixing prevention sounded great. The mixing fluids is virtually never desired. So let's stop it from happening. That's simple. This is the part where the movie stops and the narrator says, and then the narrator says, it says, but it wasn't that simple. Not even close to simple. To keep things short, I'll just say the complexity compounded with more and more complexity. An entire game built without the concept of fluid can't mix. Over a year and a half later, there's still parts that can't be handled gracefully. Right. When the concept was first talked about, it seemed off. Fluid mixing is not desired. The solution is to full stop prevent it. But let's take that same solution and apply it to something else. Belts. Mixing belt contests is mostly not desired. People have gone full crazy and made setups around it. That's another story. So what if the game tried to stop you from mixing belt contents? Sounds crazy to me. But it happens. Belts get mixed, and it's not a big part of the problem as fluids getting mixed. Why is that? Because there's a quick and easy way to fix the problem. Just hoover up the items and the belt, and from the belt, and it's fixed. That's right. There's no quick and easy way to fix mixed fluids. You have to pull up the entire length of pipe to get it all out. Right. Big difference in in consequences to mixing them. Even if you don't mix fluids, just get the wrong run in a pipe, and it's still a huge pain to fix. Correct. The idea isn't new. It was talked about when fluid mixing prevention started, but it was recently brought up again as we decided to give it a try. Simple fluid mixing prevention, just to try to handle the most common case, manually building things. In more complex cases where mixing might happen, provide a quick and easy way to fix it. A button to flush. Hey, giving fluid from the pipes. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So where's the, okay. Can't mix that. Cut that. Flush the isolated pipe and place it. Oh, okay. Cool. And I guess it flushes the whole line. So, okay, so this is filled with petroleum gas. You break that, still filled petroleum gas. Flush petroleum gas from the entire fluid system. Bam. And now you got it. Ah, there we go. That is neato. This new simplified system will be ready for release next week. So you can give it a try and let us know what you think. I'll be damned. Arsad's a smart mother trucker. I tell you what, he has handled so many things of Factorio that is. He's got this game really down to it. Unluck says, I recall in one of Arsad's streams. Yeah, Arsad does stream on Twitch. There was a lot of code he removed that was trying to handle these edge cases preventing mixing of fluids, such as rotating a structure, right? That could lead to mixing fluids. So they opted to rather simpler code, and it's answered in that FFF Reddit thread. That's cool. All right, overall, this is great. This is a good fix to all the issues we had with the old beacon, and I guess version 1 of the new beacon. With the red, I thought that was too busy, and I thought the occlusion with the entity behind it was too high. Those are some of my criticisms of it. And in fact, if you look at that, see, look, it goes up 2 full blocks and a little bit more. That old tower, and my thought is, hey, either shrink that or make it thinner so that if I'm clicking. Like I can see it's too tall, right? That was my biggest criticism of this one, is it's too much. I guess it's called occlusion with the with blocking the entity behind it. Anyway, yeah, and so this is versions, low res, version 1 of high res, and version 2 of high res. I'm down with this. I like it a lot. Bringing it lower profile and being able to see the modules in state. This is good. I'm down. And this is pretty smart. Very elegant. Oh, it tells you how much is there too. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. All right, really good changes. Very, very good RSET and very good V45. Really good. Really well done. I'm looking forward to 1.0. This is going to be great. All right, that was Friday Facts 351. I'm looking forward to launch day. We've only got 8 more Friday Facts until launch day. Hard to believe it is 62 days until we get to 1.0. I'm looking forward to releasing this game onto the world and being a part of it. Something from all the way back in early access to 1.0. I've never really done this before in my gaming career, and this game is shaping up to be great. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.